South Sudan at 15. Independence was won, but nationhood is still being lost. When South Sudan became the world's newest nation on July 9, 2011, it was the most celebrated moment in modern African history. Millions of South Sudanese danced in the streets of Jala. Refugees dream of returning home. Across Africa, the birth of the continent's 54th independent state was viewed as the culmination of decades of sacrifice, resilience, and determination. For years, independence represented more than a flag, more than a new flag or a seat at the United Nations. It represented hope. That hope that generations of war will finally give way to peace. Hope that all worth could find high school instead of soldiers. Hope that children could know classrooms instead of refugee camps. Hope that the world's youngest country could become one of Africa's greatest success stories. 15 years later, that hope has largely given way to profound disappointment. South Sudan today continues to grapple with political instability, economic hardship, humanitarian crisis, displacement, corruption, and recurring violence. Millions depend on humanitarian assistance. Large numbers remain internally displaced or in refugee camps in neighboring countries. Basic public services remain inadequate despite the country's enormous natural resources. The painful question must be asked, what went wrong? Many external factors have undoubtedly contributed complicated South Sudan's journey. Regional tension, fluctuation in oil prices, climate change, devastating flood, internal interference, and weak institutions have all played their part. This reality cannot simply be ignored. Yet it could be intellectually dishonest to place primary blame on outsiders. The greatest responsibility lies with South Sudan's own political leadership. Winning the war is different from governing a nation. The men who led South Sudan's independence struggle deserve recognition for helping secure independence after decades of conflict with Sudan. But leading a liberation movement and governing a country require fundamentally different skills. Liberation movement operates through military command structure, where loyalty, battlefield strategy, and defeating an enemy is paramount. Governments operate through institutions, accountability, compromise, transparency, and service delivery. Unfortunately, much of South Sudan's political elite has struggled to make that transition. Too often, political or politics has remained an extension of wartime thinking. Political disagreement become existential conflicts. Opponent becomes enemy rather than rivals. Power sharing agreements become temporary ceasefire instead of a general political settlement. National institutions remain weak because personal loyalty frequently outweighs institutional principles. The result has been recurring instability that has robbed ordinary Sudanese of the peace they sacrificed so much to achieve. Independence cannot be the final achievement. For too long, South Sudan's leadership have relied on the moral authority gained during liberation struggle. But independence is not a lifetime governing credential. Each generation of leaders must earn legitimacy through performance. Citizens ultimately judge governments not by what they accomplished 15 or 15 years ago, but by whether today's children attend schools, whether hospitals function, whether roads connect communities, whether investors feel safe, and whether families can live without fear of violence. These are the measures by which successful governments are remembered. On those measures, South Sudan has fallen far short of its enormous potential. South Sudan's independence was not merely a national event. It was an African triumph. The entire continent celebrated because many saw South Sudan as proof that decades of suffering could finally produce peace and self-determination. Today, many of those same supporters watch with sadness. Instead of becoming a model of post-conflict reconstruction, South Sudan has become a cautionary tale of how political division can squander historic opportunities. That disappointment is shared not only by the international community but also by countless South Sudanese citizens whose dreams remain unfulfilled. Despite everything, South Sudan is not beyond redemption. Its people remain resilient. Its natural resources remain significant. Its youthful population represents enormous potential. Peace agreements, though fragile, provide the foundation upon which genuine national reconciliation can still be built. But this will require leaders willing to embrace a different political culture. The country does not need commanders preparing for the next political battle. It needs statesmen preparing for the next generation. It needs leaders who place institutions above personalities, national unity above ethnic politics, economic development above political survival, and public service above personal enrichment. Most importantly, it needs leaders who finally recognize that governing requires different instincts than fighting a war. As Sudan marks 15 years of independence, there is certainly reason to honor those who sacrificed their lives for the nation for the nation to exist, right? But celebration without reflection serves no purpose. The greatest tribute to those who fought for independence could not be another military parade or commemorative speech. It could be building a peaceful, prosperous, and united nation that envisages. History will remember South Sudan liberation heroes for winning independence. It will remember today's leaders for what they do with that independence. The tragedy of South Sudan is not that it won its freedom. The tragedy is that 15 years later, too many of its citizens are still waiting to experience the peace, stability, an opportunity that freedom was supposed to bring. Until the country's political leadership fully transitioned from the mindset of liberation to responsibility of governing, the promise of July 9, 2011 will remain an aspiration rather than a reality. South Sudan has gained independence, and when that happened, we were all happy. I was a young boy, a young man at the University of Liberia when South Sudan gained independence. No, now I was here in the United States when South Sudan gained independence. A young man, and we're all celebrating that moment. But now, 15 years after, all that potential is being wasted. Saboki and other people are still trying to transition to being leaders of that country. The African Union is spending enormous amount of resources in South Sudan to bring stability. I said it about the political struggle or the political division in Senegal. Many people people who stay in opposition find it hard to transition to leading their country. Sonko and Faye in Senegal are finding the same problem. Saboki and the other gentlemen are finding it hard to transition from battlefield to government. This is the problem that we face in Africa. Liberation is one thing, and it cuts across the entire continent. People who fought for independence during colonial time had that same problem. They are not transitioned to leading a country, delivering services. We must give them the credit they deserve for fighting for freedom. If it's true, fighting through colonial era and bringing independence, or South Sudan's experience, we still have to learn to govern, to deliver services, roads that connect community, hospitals that function and serve our population, schools that provide adequate education for our students to be the next generation of leaders or innovators. This is where Africa is falling short. And this is where South Sudan has fallen short. Those that sacrifice their lives on the battlefield will now look back in despair and disappointment. We hope that the next 15 years is going to be different. Folks, my name is Pico Conway. I want to say a big thank you to those of you who subscribe to our channel. For those of you who watch and view our videos. For those of you who are not subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel, like and share. This is where we discuss African issues. This is where we discuss geopolitical issues that tie to African politics. Folks, once again, my name is Pico Conway, and when you want to get an in-depth analysis of the African Union, this is the channel for you. Until next time, let's all pray for South Sudan to pray for South Sudan to be successful in the next 15 years. Bye for now.